Tasting like a boss, outside edition. A beautiful Sunday, so happy Sunday to you. I have Kylo, the Knights of Ren, here who will help us with the review. We do still have the three other dogs. He's not the only dog. Dustin was going to do it, but he's sitting over here pouting and now panting because I'm probably touching Kylo and he gets jealous. Minerva's running around doing God knows what, and Rollo's inside. So if we hear any scuffling or anything else like that, it's going to be them. And today is a review I'm really excited about. I was telling you about it last time, in the last review, just yesterday. And it gives a little bit of explanation as to why I'm wearing this shirt. Lake Brantley Senior Band Dad. Why does it say that? Well, because last year we had a senior in high school. It was our second kid going through the program who was in marching band at Lake Brantley High School. And this year we have a freshman. And I volunteer my time to the marching band. And in fact, I'm going to put a link to some of their performances in the description. Check them out. I mean, maybe you don't like marching band, but if you do, I think you'll like it. I think it's cool. It's a really cool art form. But the coffee that I'm going to be taking today or tasting today is given to me by a beautiful couple who dedicate a lot of their time to the marching band, and that's where I mostly see them, as these marching band events. And they knew I liked coffee, and I was reviewing coffee, and they decided to bring me a coffee that they like the most. In fact, their names are Patrick and Sylvia. And Sylvia, a lot of her family lives in Costa Rica now, so they go to Costa Rica quite a bit. And so she said that this is the coffee that they love, which is Cafe 1820. I don't know if she got this particular bag from Costa Rica and brought it back, or if it's one that you can just get here, because I did look it up and it is available in the United States. So if you do like this review and want to get it, you don't have to go all the way to Costa Rica to get it. You can actually order it here, and it's not massively expensive. So whenever I am given a coffee to taste by other people, I want to take the time to sort of look into the coffee and to know some more about it. And so this particular coffee is Costa Rican, and it's called Cafe 1820 because 1820 is a significant year, because it's not when it first started, but it was the first year that this particular company, I think Costa Rica in general, traded any coffee outside of its own boundaries. In fact, they gave what was called their yellow bean to Panama. And that was what sparked basically a resurgence of their economy, which had been struggling since that time. They dedicated a lot of their farmland to coffee production. In fact, now I think this particular company has 93,000 hectares, so that's a lot of coffee. Now, it's not to say that the entire economy of Costa Rica is the same as it was back in 1820. Back then, it was basically salvaged and saved and defined by the coffee trade, apparently. But that's obviously changed now. They still have a lot of their stuff coming from agriculture, but mostly bananas, as well as there was bananas and other tropical fruits. Coffee is still a part of their economy and is remembered, with this level of reverence. They were very proud of their coffee, but it isn't the major aspect of their economy anymore. And of course, they have a very diversified economy, like all the countries do. So I don't want you to think I'm saying Costa Rica, it's all about coffee. No, but a lot of their cultural identity and their economic identity, even to this day, at least from a psychological standpoint, is connected to coffee based upon what I've read, and I think that's great. So this is going to be a three-way review, and of course this is not a flavored coffee. A lot of the reviews I do are flavored coffees, and I'm seeing the elements and the changes. Here's a little different. In fact, I'm sure there's people who are watching this now who kind of prefer it, because I do know that coffee is a lot like, I connect it to like cigars. There are flavored cigars, and purists for cigar smokers would say that they don't like that. They don't like you adding taste to it, because they want to see tastes that just naturally occur within, in that situation, the tobacco leaf, either through its aging or how it's treated and everything else, that certain flavors that are not even connected arise. That's where they think it's neat. And sometimes that's the cool thing about coffee. So we're going to do it in cold brew. We are going to do it in drip, and we are going to do it in espresso, and we're going to see, hey, is this a good coffee? And if so, what's a good in? Keep in mind, not all coffees are going to be good in every format. So if I don't like one, that doesn't mean it's a bad coffee. That's always the rule. So let's give it a smell. This bag here is not resealable. So if you do get this, make sure you've got somewhere to store it airtight when you're done with your portion, unless you like to do a lot of coffee at one time. So let's give it a smell. I'll tell you what, using that cigar analogy is, I think, pretty spot on. When I smell this, obviously it's not a flavored coffee, so I'm not going to be smelling the either the artificial or natural flavorings are utilized to make the bean taste a different way. I smell this. It is a dark coffee, and it actually has like cigar notes, almost like tobacco notes. It's very intense. And another thing is, you're not going to be able to see it, but if you ever get it, you'll notice that it's ground different than your typical ground coffee. This does come ground. I don't even know if they sell whole bean coffee. In fact, I kind of looked them up, and they pride themselves on the way they grind their coffee, because it is different than how other coffees are ground. And I don't mean because it's a different mechanism, but to the extent to which it is ground. It looks almost ground to the point of for espresso bean, but not exactly, just a little bit less. So it's more ground than other coffees you get ground or you grind yourself for drip or for cold brew. So, and then they even say they do it because that's the proper ground to release the flavors of the coffee. Basically, they're saying is, we know how to do it right. Don't you go around screwing up our coffee. So there you go. So Cafe 1820, let's get into the tasting. So we have the cold brew, tasting like a boss, and I am dog free. They have all abandoned me. You're all traitors. You're all traitors. Okay, here we go. I love that. Patrick and Sylvia, thank you so much. This is so good. Okay, I'll tell you what I like about this. This is, for me, what a cold brew coffee should taste like that's not flavored. It's so mellow, like a great tea, like tea, but you can tell it still tastes a little coffee, but it's so balanced. I brewed this for over 24 hours. In fact, I thought maybe with it being such a dark coffee that it was going to be just too earthy, too bitter. It's not bitter at all. There's no sweetener in it. I didn't water it down. I've said this before. When you go to Starbucks or Wawa or any of these other places, like, even Dunkin' Donuts, and you get cold brew coffee, they're usually very bitter. And oftentimes they're just diluting it off of a more concentrated syrup, or I don't even know what they're doing. They're doing something wrong as far as I'm concerned. Dunkin' Donuts is the only one that's actually decent. And maybe Starbucks if you want it, but it's so bitter that it's really not as refreshing. This is refreshing. This would be refreshing on a hot day. Man, this tastes as good as the beautiful day that we have today. So thank you for that. So I will definitely be adding this. Of course, it's not going to be sweet. It's not going to be like chocolate. And so if I'm trying to pull up the notes I taste, tea, but also like little aspects of sweetness. But I can't detect what fruit it would be. I know this is all Cafe Oro, or mostly Cafe Oro beans. Man, well done. So yeah, that's a big thumbs up for me. So let's move to drip. Now I can tell you right now, my wife already tried the drip because once it's made, she gets her coffee and she says, "Screw your reviews, I'm getting my coffee," and I understand that. So we're gonna try it in drip. And her statement was it was strong, even though I didn't really put more grounds in than usual. And she had to add a stevia, but once she did, she said that she just really liked it. And she said, "You're really going to like this one, Roy." So let's see if she's right. So tasting like a boss, drip. Oh yeah, she's right. Totally different flavor. Totally different flavor. This tastes like a nice, refreshing tea. If you put a little sweetener, it would probably taste just like iced tea, and you grate a little bit of fruity notes. Here, the fruity notes are pulled out more. There's gonna be a little more, just a little more bitterness because it's drip, but the flavor is incredible. Yeah, I can see why. I can see why you guys like this coffee, Sylvia and Patrick. This is that is a really, really good cup of coffee. All right, well, that's an even bigger thumbs up for me, and I don't love drip. And actually, it's not a bigger thumbs up. They're both enthusiastic thumbs up. These are both things that you should have. You should have these. So, all right, now espresso. I can tell you on the espresso, when it came out dark, like darker than the ones, and it also created a more substantial foam on it just by itself. So, tastes like a boss espresso. Yeah. Works as an espresso too, and I didn't grind it further. I left it just as the grind it was. I didn't put it back in to grind it a little bit more to get it to where it needed to be, as far as I normally do. But yeah, this is just if you gave this to me, it tastes like a slightly mellower version of Cuban espresso. That's what it tastes like to me. So I don't know what they're doing with it, but it's good. So if you get this Cafe 1820, you are getting a coffee that will work in all three formats. A nice mellow tea with slightly fruity aspects to it, mostly just a really good cup of tea, which is coffee, which for a lot of us is better. Two, you got your drip, more developed flavor, more fruity flavors at the end, or notes at the end. Very good cup of coffee. And an espresso, no frills, quality espresso that's right up there with the highest, as far as I'm concerned. I love Cuban coffee and Cuban espresso, but this is right up there. So, tasting like a boss. Again, thank you to my friends, and thank you guys for going on this journey with me. Hit subscribe and hit like and hit alerts, because we have more reviews coming this week. As I promised you, I want to do a lot of these fall-themed flavors by Bones, some of which I've done before, but never in three-way reviews. And I think you're going to have a good time. So happy rest of October, and I hope to see you a couple of the days between now and Halloween, all right? Until then, keep tasting like a boss.